Have you ever wondered what truly stops mattering after the age of 70? What if the things you spent decades worrying about simply no longer deserved your energy? Welcome back. Dear friends, if you believe it's never too late to live lighter and more joyfully, make sure to subscribe and join us on this beautiful journey toward freedom and fulfillment. Turning 70 is a profound milestone. It's not just a number, it's a passage into a chapter where wisdom, resilience, and clarity become our greatest treasures, but it's also a time to quietly set down the burdens we've carried for too long. The expectations, the obligations, the invisible weights that no longer serve us. Today, let's gently explore 9 things that lose their meaning after 70, and how letting them go can open your heart to peace, authenticity, and joy. Number 1. Worrying about the opinions of others for so much of our lives. We walk a path paved by the expectations of others. We choose careers that impress, buy homes that symbolize success, and even suppress parts of ourselves to fit the image others have of us. Approval becomes a currency we desperately seek, sometimes without even realizing it. But something extraordinary happens as the years accumulate behind us. At 70, a quiet but powerful clarity begins to rise within. The opinions that once felt so heavy, the judgments, the whispered criticisms, the need to please, began to lose their grip. You start to realize no one else's opinion defines your worth. No one else's approval adds or subtracts from the richness of your life. Think about it for a moment. How many times did fear of judgment hold you back from speaking your truth? How often did you shape your decisions, what you wore, where you lived, what you pursued, based not on your desires, but on how others might perceive you? Now, imagine living each day free from that invisible leash. Imagine choosing your clothes because they feel good on your skin, not because they look acceptable. Imagine pursuing a passion simply because it ignites your heart, not because it earns admiration. Imagine speaking your truth softly but firmly, without shrinking under the weight of others' expectations. At this stage of life, you have earned the sacred right to be fully, unapologetically yourself. This is not a rebellion against society. It is a gentle return to your essence, the version of you that existed long before the world told you who to be. When you release the need for external validation, a beautiful thing happens. You begin to trust yourself more. You listen more closely to your intuition. You find peace in your own decisions, even if they bewilder or disappoint others. Because the truth is, the people who truly love you, who truly matter, will celebrate your authenticity. And those who don't, they were never your home to begin with. So breathe deeply, step lightly, smile quietly to yourself when you catch glimpses of the old fear trying to creep back in. You are free now, free to live, to choose, to belong fully to yourself. And that is a kind of wealth no approval can ever buy. Number 2, accumulating material possessions. In the early chapters of life, possessions often feel like milestones. The first car, the dream home, the closet full of clothes, the gadgets proudly displayed. They tell a story of growth, of ambition, of arrival. Society teaches us that more is better, that accumulation is a symbol of success. And so, we build, we collect, we fill our spaces with objects that, for a time, bring a flicker of satisfaction. But somewhere along the journey, often quietly, almost imperceptibly, we begin to notice something else. The house that once felt grand feels empty. The closet overflows, but there's nothing we truly want to wear. The shelves gather dust faster than they gather joy. And we find ourselves wondering, when did the things I own start to own me? After 70, this awareness sharpens. You see that happiness was never folded into those shopping bags. It wasn't parked in the driveway. It didn't come wrapped in glossy boxes. Real happiness, you realize, is woven into moments. The sound of your grandchild's laughter echoes through a quiet room. The feeling of warm sunlight on your face during a slow morning walk. The peace of a handwritten letter from an old friend. And so, you begin the gentle, beautiful work of letting go, not in bitterness, but in gratitude. You sort through your belongings not with regret, but with a smile. This sweater kept me warm through many winters. This book traveled with me to so many places. This painting reminded me to dream. And then you release, you make space, not just in your home, but in your heart. Space for new memories, space for breathing, for resting, for simply being. Because the truth is, the fewer things you carry, the lighter your soul becomes. The lighter your soul becomes, the higher your spirit can rise. You don't need more. You need deeper connections, deeper peace, deeper joy. And none of those are found in possessions. They are found in the presence, in the richness of ordinary moments fully lived, in the quiet gratitude that fills the space where clutter used to live. This is not about discarding memories. It's about cherishing what matters and letting the rest float away, like leaves in an autumn breeze, making way for new life to blossom in you. If this message resonates with you, don't forget to subscribe. We share more heartfelt reflections every week to support your journey toward a lighter, freer life. Number 3, maintaining social obligations that drain you. Throughout much of life, social obligations often feel non-negotiable. We attend events out of politeness, join gatherings out of duty, and maintain connections because it's expected. There is a silent pressure, a whisper that says, you should show up. Even when your heart quietly pleads, I would rather rest. In younger years, saying yes feels like survival. We fear missing out. We fear disappointing others. We convince ourselves that staying connected, no matter the cost, is the key to belonging. And so we go to dinners that leave us exhausted, parties where our laughter feels hollow, and conversations where we hide parts of ourselves just to be accepted. But something shifts when you reach the beautiful threshold of 70. You begin to understand that your time, your energy, your very presence are sacred currencies, too precious to be spent on things that drain you. You realize that how you feel during and after an interaction tells you everything you need to know. If your spirit feels lighter, warmer, more alive, those are the connections to nurture. If your heart feels heavy, tense, diminished, those are the obligations to gently release. Saying no is not an act of rebellion. It is an act of deep self-respect. It is the quiet honoring of your limited, beautiful energy. Imagine choosing your social calendar not by obligation, but by joy. Imagine attending only those gatherings that spark laughter, stimulate your mind, or fill your heart with warmth. Imagine choosing evenings of quiet reflection over noisy events that leave you feeling unseen. You are not obligated to explain or justify your choices. A simple, gracious no, thank you, is enough. You owe no one an apology for choosing peace over performance, authenticity over obligation. Because after 70 Asarwas, you realize it is better to have 3 authentic connections that nourish your soul than 30 acquaintances who barely know your heart. It is better to spend an evening wrapped in a book that stirs your spirit than trapped in small talk that depletes it. This is not isolation. This is curation. This is creating a life where every interaction is intentional, every gathering is a blessing, and every moment is aligned with your truest self. You have earned the right to protect your joy, to fiercely guard your peace, to pour your remaining years into people, places, and moments that make your soul hum with life. And in doing so, you are not shrinking away from life. You are, at last, living it fully. Number 4, chasing society's standards of beauty. From the time we are young, the world sends us constant, insistent messages about beauty. Magazines, billboards, television screens, they all whisper the same story. You are only beautiful if you are young. You are only worthy if you are flawless. And so, for decades, we chase creams that promise to erase our years. We chase diets and fitness routines that promise to sculpt our bodies into youthful shapes. We chase styles, trends, and illusions. believing that if we just try hard enough, we can outrun the clock. But no one tells you the truth. Beauty, real beauty, was never about smooth skin or shiny hair. It was never about fitting into a mold too small to hold the expanse of your spirit. And when you reach 70, this truth becomes undeniable. You realize that every wrinkle etched into your skin is not a flaw. It is a signature of all the times you smiled so hard your eyes disappeared, of all the nights you cried and survived, of all the moments you lived so fully that your very body remembered. Your gray hairs are not something to cover. They are medals of endurance, threads of silver spun by time itself. They are proof that you stayed, you grew, you kept loving despite all the reasons the world gave you not to. When you walk into a room now, your beauty is not measured by the tautness of your skin. It is measured by the way you carry yourself, by the kindness in your eyes, by the calm confidence in your voice, by the way others feel more whole simply standing in your presence. Chasing society's standards of beauty after 70 is like trying to hold on to a mirage. The closer you chase it, the farther your true self drifts away. But when you stop chasing, when you turn inward, you find something breathtaking. You were never meant to look young forever. You were meant to look like yourself, to embody the life you have lived, the storms you have weathered, the love you have given and received. You do not owe the world your youth. You owe yourself your freedom to show up, fully and gloriously as you are. Without apology, you are beautiful, not because you hide your years, but because you honor them. Because you have become a living, breathing testament to what it means to endure, to evolve, to love fiercely and fearlessly across decades. And that kind of beauty, it doesn't fade, it deepens, it glows, it is timeless. Number 5, holding on to activities that no longer bring fulfillment. There is a quiet kind of grief that comes with outgrowing things you once loved. The weekly gatherings, the hobbies you used to pour your heart into, the routines that once gave shape to your days. They held meaning once. They were sources of joy, of connection, of identity. But as the years roll forward, something inside you shifts. Maybe it happens slowly, so softly you hardly notice. Maybe one day, you wake up and realize, this doesn't light me up anymore. This feels more like a duty than a delight. And somewhere deep within, a voice whispers, it's okay to let go. Yet we hesitate, we cling, not because the activity still feeds our soul, but because it represents a part of who we used to be. We fear that letting go means losing ourselves, or worse, that it means admitting we've changed. But here is the beautiful, liberating truth. Changing is not a failure. Outgrowing is not a betrayal of who you were. It is a natural, necessary part of living an authentic life. After 70, every moment becomes too precious to spend on habits that no longer nourish you. You are not here to perform loyalty to an old version of yourself. You are here to listen, deeply and lovingly, to who you are now. Maybe the bridge club that once made you laugh now feels draining. Maybe the gardening that once thrilled your senses now feels like a chore. Maybe the volunteering commitment you cherished for years now weighs on your heart like an obligation. It's okay. You are allowed to close old chapters so that new ones can begin. You are allowed to evolve, to follow the quiet stirrings of your soul toward new adventures, new interests, new rhythms. Imagine what might blossom if you permitted yourself to explore without guilt. Maybe you'll find unexpected joy in painting, in poetry, in photography. Maybe you'll discover peace in quiet walks through nature or afternoons spent writing letters to old friends. Maybe you'll realize that fulfillment now looks like savoring the simple pleasures. A steaming cup of tea, a favorite song played on repeat, the comforting silence of your own company. There is no map for this stage of life, no rule book that says you must keep doing what no longer sings to your spirit. You are the cartographer now, drawing a new map each day based on what feels light, what feels true, what feels alive. Holding on out of habit or guilt only crowds the space where new passions might take root. But when you let go with grace, you create room for life to surprise you again. And isn't that, after all, The very heart of living, not standing still, but flowing, expanding, becoming. Number 6, tolerating toxic relationships. For much of life, we are taught that loyalty is a virtue. We are taught to hold on, to forgive endlessly, to keep relationships alive even when they quietly wound us. We tell ourselves that patience is strength, that endurance is love, that tolerance is noble, and sometimes it is, but not always. Not when loyalty becomes a chain around your heart, not when forgiveness becomes a way to erase your own needs, not when patience becomes permission for someone else to mistreat you. Toxic relationships are not always loud or obvious. They can be quiet erosions, subtle criticisms that chip away at your confidence, manipulations disguised as concern, dismissive words that shrink your spirit a little more each time. And for so long, many of us have stayed. We stay out of duty, we stay out of fear, we stay because we hope against hope that love alone can heal what is broken. But after 70, something changes deep inside. You begin to understand that your peace is sacred, that your energy is finite, that your remaining years are too precious to waste on people who cannot or will not meet you with kindness, respect, and truth. You realize that letting go of toxic relationships is not an act of cruelty, it is an act of fierce self-respect. It is not a declaration of bitterness, it is a quiet, unwavering declaration of worth. I deserve to be treated with love. I deserve to be safe. I deserve to feel whole in the presence of those I call my own. Imagine how much lighter your days become when you no longer brace yourself for criticism, manipulation, or neglect. Imagine relationships that nourish rather than drain you, that fill your cup instead of emptying it. Imagine standing in a room full of people who celebrate your very existence, not because you fit into their mold, but because your authenticity lights up the room. You are not obligated to keep toxic people in your life simply because they have a history with you. History is important, yes, but your future is even more important. And your future deserves to be built with people who love you well, who speak to you with kindness, who hold your heart with care. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself, and even for them, is to let go, to step back, to bless them from a distance, and choose peace for yourself. Because after everything you've lived through, everything you've survived, everything you've become, you deserve a life that feels gentle, a life that feels safe, a life that feels free. And that kind of life begins with choosing who gets to walk beside you and who does not. Number 7, comparing yourself to others. Comparison sneaks in quietly. It often starts as an innocent glance. A neighbor's bigger house, a friend's growing family, a cousin's glowing health. And without even meaning to, you start measuring your own life against theirs. You wonder if you've done enough, achieved enough, lived enough. You wonder if, somewhere along the way, you fell behind. Comparison, they say, is the thief of joy, and they are right. Because every time you measure your life by someone else's yardstick, you lose sight of the extraordinary journey that is uniquely yours. But something remarkable begins to unfold after 70. You realize, at last, that life is not a race. There is no finish line where someone stands with a trophy labeled Best Life. There is only your path, winding, imperfect, rich with its moments of triumph, heartbreak, and quiet beauty. You see that no two lives are truly comparable. The person who seems to have it all may carry invisible burdens you cannot see. The one who walks with apparent ease may be masking struggles you would not wish upon yourself. And the blessings you possess, the ones you overlook because they feel ordinary, might be the very things someone else is praying for. When you let go of comparison, something beautiful happens. Gratitude floods in. You begin to see your life not in the harsh light of lack, but in the soft glow of abundance. You begin to cherish the little victories, the mornings you wake up without pain, the afternoons filled with your favorite song, the evenings wrapped in quiet peace. You begin to honor the battles you fought and won, The wisdom you've gathered like precious stones, the resilience woven into every thread of your being. You understand that fulfillment is not measured in trophies, titles, or accolades. It is measured in moments of deep contentment, moments when your heart whispers, "This is enough. I am enough." Imagine living each day without scanning the horizon for what others have that you don't. Imagine waking up and focusing not on what's missing, but on what's already blooming quietly within and around you. After all, flowers do not compare themselves to the blossoms next to them. They simply open when it's their time, reaching for the sun in their perfect way, and so can you. You are not late. You are not lacking. You are not behind. You are exactly where your soul needs you to be. Trust your path, celebrate your journey, and know that the only life you are meant to live, the only life that matters, is the one that is yours. Number 8, clinging to outdated goals. The dreams you chased at 30 may no longer fit who you are at 70, and that's a sign of growth, not failure. It's okay to rewrite your story. Maybe you once dreamed of titles and achievements. Now, maybe your goal is a sunrise walk, a handwritten letter, or a shared meal. Honor what matters to you now. That is true success. Number 9, feeling guilty for prioritizing your happiness for decades. You gave and gave to your family, your career, and your community. Now, it's your turn. Prioritizing your happiness is not selfish. It's life-affirming. Find what lights you up and pursue it without guilt. Traveling, gardening, learning, resting. When you fill your cup, you have even more love to offer others. Have you ever paused to wonder, what truly matters after the age of 70? What if the things that once seemed so important, the achievements, the opinions, the possessions, no longer held any real weight in your heart? What if true freedom begins, not by adding more, but by letting go? Welcome back, dear friends. If you believe that life after 70 can be the most authentic, peaceful, and beautiful chapter yet, we invite you to subscribe and walk this journey with us. Together, we'll explore the wisdom, courage, and gentle joys that come with embracing who you truly are. Turning 70 is not just a passage of time, it's a profound threshold. It's a moment where the landscape of your life stretches behind you, rich with memories, lessons, and battles you have already won. It's a time when the frantic pace of earlier years slows just enough for you to finally hear the quiet truths that have always been waiting beneath the noise. At 70, you carry with you the full weight of a life lived, the victories, the heartbreaks, the dreams fulfilled, and the dreams surrendered. And with that comes a deep and powerful clarity. You realize that some things you once fought for, worried about, or clung to, no longer deserve space in your precious heart. This stage of life is not about regret. It is about release. It is about gently setting down what no longer serves you and choosing, with great intention, to carry only what brings light to your spirit. It is about trading the heavy burdens of expectation, comparison, and fear for the simple treasures of peace, authenticity, and joy. Today, let us walk together through 9 things that lose their meaning after 70. And more importantly, how releasing them can unlock a life that feels lighter, truer, and more breathtaking than you ever imagined.